Chapter 47:12. In the creation world. Yuluaha was shocked by the emergence of an other like Duan Lingtian. A person who came out of a world like the creation chart, in his eyes was like a material existence, and one day he was able to catch up with himself. You must know that you are the master of the creation chart, which is equivalent to watching an ant suddenly one day have as much power as yourself and be in the same realm as yourself. Now looking at the two Hadao statues in front of him, he felt like his heart was trembling. Feng Qingyang, a being who was equally gifted and powerful in this creation life chart world, and had always been second only to Duan Lingtian. Actually, after coming to the world of divine soil, he successfully merged with the Tao and became a strong Taoist. These two masters and disciples are going against heaven. A double path. Yuluaha secretly took a breath of air and forced himself to calm down. Yuluaha, who didn't want Duan Lingtian and the others to find out what a fuss he was making, suddenly snorted coldly, and then looked at Duan Lingtian with a joking expression. Duan Lingtian, don't you? Do you think you can keep me by bringing your master? Today my Yuluohi's injury has completely recovered. Don't talk about you and your newly promoted Hadao master. Even if the Wanshanshin family has a double Hadao, it will be difficult for me to stay. Yuluaha's strength is also among the best among the powerful He-Air Dao. This is where his confidence lies. Maybe I'm not a match for the two of you together, but if you want to keep me, it's simply impossible. Yuluaha said in a proud tone. Wow. The next moment, Yuluaha soared into the air, his robes trembling, floating like an immortal. He faced Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang in the air, with a hint of teasing and disdain on his lips. Wanshanshin family. Facing the confident Yuluaha, and hearing Yuluaha's words again, Duan Lingshan's lips showed an evil smile and his eyes narrowed slightly. Yuluaha, you actually turned Wanshanshin family into are those two Hideos compared to my master? Are they the only ones? Also suitable? If it were another Hadao, even if his strength was as strong as the two from the Wanshanshin family, he would not trample on others verbally. After all, there was no grievance or enmity. However, the two members of the Wanshanshin family are no different from enemies to him. If you don't step on this kind of person, who else can you step on? Yoho! Duan Lingshan's words made Yuluaha couldn't help but laugh. Duan Lingtian, what do you mean by this? Are you and your master stronger than the two from the Wanshanshin family? Ridiculous. Once you take action, Chen Mingho from the Wanshanshin sect will definitely compete with you. How much strength will you have left by then? Today, if you didn't bring Feng Qingyang with you, would you dare to come to me? Trash. After saying this, Yuluaha smiled ferociously, his eyes full of disdain. After all, in his eyes, Duan Lingtian was not a threat. He was just a weak Hadao. Once Chen Mingho snatched him away, his strength would be divine land world definitely at the bottom of the list. Such a person dares to shout in front of him? Ridiculous. Stealing the way. Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment, then couldn't help but laugh. Who told you? I, Duan Lingtian, am still sharing the same platform with Chen Mingho. As soon as these words came out, Yuluaha couldn't help but frown and didn't react immediately. However, in the blink of an eye, it was like a bolt of lightning struck, splitting the chaos in his mind and bringing him back to consciousness. But soon he quickly objected in his heart. Impossible. No way. How long has it been? It's impossible for him to successfully merge with the third path. Yuluaha was not a fool. He quickly realized what Duan Lingshan's words meant, but the reaction was a reaction. He subconsciously thought that Duan Lingtian was doing it on purpose. Scared him because he thought Duan Lingtian couldn't be in such a short time. The third path will be combined within the time limit. Combining the three paths is not that simple. Otherwise there would not be only a few people in the world of gods and earth with that strength. Unless there is something special about the life born in the creation chart. However, as Duan Lingtian raised his hand casually, the power of Hadao swept down. As soon as the terrifying power appeared, the world became larger. The sky that was originally daytime dimmed in an instant, and the terrifying sword energy spread across the sky. Heaven and earth, the void trembles, and countless tiny space cracks appear. You know, this is the world of divine land, and the stability of the space is beyond ordinary people's imagination. Even if a strong man from the three combined paths takes action, it will be difficult to break the space. Unless the one that combines them is the way of space. And now, with Duan Lingtian taking action, Yuluaha has completely confirmed. Duan Lingtian has indeed merged into the third path, and it is also the way of space. Is it possible? At this moment, a crazy idea arose in Yuluaha's mind. Can the laws of space in the creation world be brought out there and presented here in the form of the law of space? In addition, it was difficult for him to understand why Duan Lingtian could comprehend the way of space to the 9th level and integrate it into the infinite sword way in such a short period of time. He is the master of the creation life chart, and he knows Duan Lingshan's industry very well. Before coming to the world of divine soil, he had never been exposed to the law of space, but he was good at the law of space in the world of the creation life chart. And he had already to realize the state of Dzogchen. Escape dash. After confirming that Duan Lingtian had combined the third path, Yuluaha only had fear in his mind. He quickly stepped away and planned to leave this place. However, Feng Qingyang, who had been staring at him for a long time, suddenly took action the moment he started. The power that was ready to go surged out, and soon the power of the sword was borrowed by him. The sword light was raging, as if it turned into a rain of swords. The land covered by the rain of swords. The void was stagnant, and even the speed of Yuluohi's departure was too fast. Time has become much slower. At this moment, Yuluaha also confirmed what path Feng Qinjiang was following. Time Kendo. This also allowed him to further confirm that some of the power of laws in the world of creation and life charts can be presented in the form of Tao in the world of divine earth. Go away! Yuluaha roared angrily, and the terrifying power in his body shook. Then his power of Hudao was also attracted from the sky. However, in the process he discovered that the speed of the power of Hudao was actually also affected by the gentle way of time affected, and became a little slower. The overwhelming time sword rain shrouded the land, and time stagnated and slowed down. At this moment, Yuluaha's scalp was numb and he felt desperate. How to escape? Without any hesitation, Yuluaha gritted his teeth and said hurriedly, Duan Lingtian, if you want the creation life chart, I will give it to you. You and I have no grievances, so you don't have to kill me, right? Killing me will do you no good. Chapter 47:13. No injustice or enmity? Duan Lingtian stood in the sky, surrounded by terrifying power. He looked astonishingly powerful. He stared at Yuluaha with a sneer at the corner of his mouth. You regard the people of the creation lifepan world, including me, as your resources. Use it to understand the way of life sacrifice for yourself. Isn't this a grudge? My relatives and friends and I were separated in the world of gods and earth, and it was difficult to reunite. My son almost died outside. Isn't this considered revenge? Ridiculous. After the words fell, Duan Lingtian suddenly took action. The power behind his back shook. He borrowed the power of the infinite space swordsmanship and turned it into a giant sword in the sky. It fell with pressure and further blocked the sky and the sun in the dim sky. It was very terrifying. It was the power that shook the space, carrying endless power and striking down, as if it could crush everything and sweep towards the Yulua River. And now Yuluaha can't escape even if he wants to, because Feng Qingyang has taken action to control the flow of time in his space. Although it is impossible to stop him and the extent of affecting his speed is limited, at their level, even if just the slightest stagnation of speed is extremely fatal. Therefore, when facing Duan Lingshan's terrifying offensive, Yuluaha could only bite the bullet and take action to meet it, because if he didn't take action, at his current speed after being stagnated, it would be no different from waiting to be killed. However, even if Yuluohi took action with all his strength, his quasi-new power of the second path was still vulnerable to Duan Lingshan's new power of the third path. After a brief stalemate, it was shattered, and then Yuluohi Hijun was also overwhelmed by Duan Lingshan's violent offensive. However, even so, he is still not dead. After all, he is the strongest. Under Duan Lingshan's full blow, the opponent tried his best to resist, but still survived. However, his body was seriously injured, his breath was weak, and his soul was crumbling like a withered lamp. Duan Lingtian, don't kill me. As long as you don't kill me, you can put forward any conditions. Yu Luoha, who was more seriously injured than the last time he was surrounded and killed by a group of Hadao, knew that he had no capital to escape now. As long as the person in front of him thought about it, his life could be easily wiped out at any time. Sorry, not interested. Duan Lingtian spoke calmly, and with crisp movements, sent him directly to Luoha and back to the west. Yu Luoha, the master of the creation life chart, the way of heaven in all realms and beyond, may have never dreamed before that one day he would die in the hands of someone who came out of the world of the creation life chart. You must know that in his eyes, the people inside are just materials, ants used to help him understand the way of life sacrifice. After killing Yu Luoha, Duan Lingtian also got the creation life chart from his Neji. Since then, he has achieved his purpose of coming to Yu Luohi this time. At the same time, he is preparing to study the creation life chart to see if he can make it those lives that have been exiled to the world of gods and earth go home again. Hadao is still easy to kill. Feng Qingyang smiled and came forward to observe the creation chart with Duan Lingtian. There was a little more expectation in his eyes. If possible, he still wanted to return to the nirvana heaven to retire in old age. If it hadn't been for your good cooperation, Master, I might not have been able to keep him on my own. Duan Lingtian sighed and sighed. After all, he is a strong man in the combined way. Even if he only combines 2 ways, his strength is not trivial. Even if his 3 ways combined into one is a brand new way, he can crush the opponent, but his offensive is only strong, and he is no better than the opponent in terms of speed. How much stronger? The way of space can be banned, but it is not enough to keep the opponent. All in all, if Master Duan Lingtian didn't use the characteristics of the way of time to freeze the opponent today, it would be difficult for him to let the opponent confront him head-on. With his current combined strength of the 3 paths, looking at the world of eyes and earth, he does not think that anyone can take advantage of him in a confrontation. Let's go back and study it again. Feng Qingyang said. Master has only been away from the 2 mistresses for a short while, and he misses them again? You kid, you're getting smaller and smaller. The main reason why he came to kill Yu Luoha this time was because Duan Lingtian had made a breakthrough some time ago, successfully combined the 3 paths into one, and mastered the infinite space sword Dao. After getting familiar with the new way during this period, he couldn't wait to bring his master Feng Qingyang to Yu Luoha. It is worth mentioning that Master Feng Qingyang was able to sense the existence of the creation life chart after entering the He Dao realm. It can be seen that as long as the life comes out of the creation life chart, after entering the He Dao realm, all can have some subtle soul connections with the creation chart. Perhaps it is because their lives originally originated from the world of creation and natal charts, and it is difficult to break away from it. It was actually repaired. After returning home, Duan Lingtian recognized the creation life chart as its owner, and after getting familiar with it, he observed the creation life chart world from the perspective of the way of heaven. And at the same time, he also had a certain understanding of the many rules of the creation life chart. Some of the things he learned made him secretly gasp. According to the rules of the creation life chart, the owner of the creation life chart cannot fully grasp all the rules before the 3 paths are unified into one, and can only master part of the rules. For example, as long as the life in the creation chart is in the world of the creation chart, and has not left the world of the creation chart, you cannot directly kill it. There is no way to enter it, otherwise the rules will collapse. Once you enter by force, the creation life chart world will also be destroyed. But once this happens, it will not be able to comprehend the way of living sacrifice, so it is impossible for Yu Luohi to do this. If the owner of the creation life chart unites the 3 realms into one, he will be able to break these rules. Not only can he enter it physically, but he can even take the life of any living creature inside from a distance. Duan Lingtian smiled. Fortunately, he has now united the 3 realms into one. Otherwise, when his relatives and friends return to the creation world, he, as the new owner of the creation chart, will not be able to go home. Is there still such a restriction? Feng Qingyang on the side was also a little surprised after learning the rules and details of the creation life chart from Duan Lingtian. In this case, if I were the master of the creation life chart, There would be nothing I could do before the three paths were unified. Return to the nirvana heaven? The master of the creation chart who combines the three paths into one has mastered all the rules of the creation chart world. It also includes finding him himself through the breath left by the life inside. Even if he wanders into the world of gods and earth, I can still lock his location just like I sensed the creation life chart when I stepped into Hadao before. Hearing this, Feng Qingyang's eyes were bright and he couldn't help but exclaimed, in other words, whether it's Lei Hong or Yun Qingyan, you can still find them even if they are hiding in any corner of the divine earth world. That's right. Duan Lingtian nodded. I have an impression of the auras of both of them. As long as I spend some time to find out their auras from the creation life chart world and integrate them into my soul, I can sense them now. It's at its location. Ah, okay. This time they are doomed. Feng Qingyang laughed heartily, and then her eyes were cold. Especially that Lei Hong, who almost killed Nian Tian last time. Duan Lingtian nodded, his eyes gradually becoming colder. This time, it's time to settle the old and new accounts together. Chapter 47:14. In the next period of time, Duan Lingtian began to search for the aura of Lei Hong and Yun Qingyan in the creation chart. Both of them were familiar to him. As long as he found their aura and integrated it into his soul, he would be able to sense it, arrive their existence. After all, he is now the master of the creation chart, and the other two are the lives born in the creation chart. He is now the new way of heaven in all realms and beyond. While Duan Lingtian was immersed in the world of creation and life charts, Feng Qingyang raised his head slightly and looked at the turbulent vision on the horizon, a little surprised. It's been so long and it hasn't disappeared yet. After Yulua he was killed by his disciple Duan Lingtian. There was a vision in the sky where the road of Hadao collapsed. It was even possible to identify whose way it was through the road of Hadao, so as to know who was killed. At first, Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang thought that Yuluaha had been killed, and the strange phenomenon enveloped the surrounding area, which was similar to the vision that appeared when they broke through the Hadao. However, until they returned to the habitat of their family and friends, the sky was still in harmony. The vision of heaven and earth where Tao falls, above the layers of clouds and mist, the road to Hadao collapses, and silhouettes can be vaguely seen across the sky, and then suddenly fall, completely silent. However, after this scene ends, the cycle continues again. This vision lasted for a whole day and night. And in just one day and one night, the entire world of Divine Land was in a state of shock. This is because the vision of the death of a strong Hadao man is different from the vision of promotion. It sweeps and envelopes the entire Divine Earth world. All the strong Hadao masters who have not retreated in the Divine Earth world discovered this at the first time. Vision, and the identity of the deceased person was confirmed from the path of Hadao presented in the vision. It's Yuluo. He's dead. Oh my god. Who killed Yuluohi? Last time, so many Hadao jointly attacked, but they couldn't kill Yuluohi, and now they are killed quietly? Did those three powerful men join forces to take action? At the same time, Chen Mingho of the Wanshan family also found his grandfather Chen Jiuxiao. Grandpa, you didn't go out. Is it those people who did it? Many people now suspect that it was some three strong men from the world of gods and earth. The other party shot and killed Yuluaha, but he knew that his grandfather had not been out recently, and he did not hear from the other party that other people had taken action, because those people were like if he wanted to take action, he would usually contact his grandfather. After all, his grandfather was a strong man of three ways. Who else could be there besides them? Chen Jiuxiao snorted coldly and said, "It seems that everyone is beginning to dislike me for being weak. They found Yuluaha and they didn't even notify me. Hateful." The other three powerful men did not know Chen Jiuxiao's current thoughts. Otherwise he would have died unjustly, because Yuluaha's death had nothing to do with any of them. After a period of time, they gathered together and found out that none of them had taken action. They all looked confused. That is how the matter? What's the situation? Then Yuluaha, is it possible that the creation life chart backfired? But I never heard that the creation life chart can backfire on others. The creation life chart is a super strong person from the four paths in the history of our world of gods and earth. The thing he refined may have something special, and can kill the too strong people. So, is the creation chart still an ominous thing? Fortunately, we got the creation life chart last time. We divided it into several parts and kept one each for safekeeping. If we really wanted to put it all together, and leave it to someone to keep, we might end up harming him. Several three-way strong men began to think about it at this time. Among them, Chen Jiuxiu's resentment hidden in his heart has disappeared. It turns out that these people did not abandon him to kill Yuluaha and seize the creation life chart. Yuluaha had another cause of death. Sir, do you really not need me to serve you? I guarantee that as long as you try it once, you will never come back. In a splendid hall, a young woman with a good face found a bald man, looked at him with a seductive look, and said coquettishly. However, the bald man just glanced at her and gave her the word "get out." What rubbish! He had gotten tired of women a long time ago, and was no longer interested in them. In his world now, there is only the word becoming stronger. If the other party hadn't been the enemy of Duan Lingshan's son, and allowed him to discuss Duan Lingtian, he would have killed him with a slap. Grown-ups. If you don't get out, you'll die. Sir, I'm leaving now. Guilili just turned around and was about to walk out, but suddenly stopped, looking at one of the two figures not far away. Her pretty face suddenly changed color. Duan Niantian. At the same time, she also noticed Duan Niantian's side. There was another young man who was somewhat similar to Duan Niantian. There was a bit more vicissitudes and maturity in his indifferent eyes, so that she guessed the other person's identity immediately. Duan Lingtian, the new Hadao powerhouse from Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Plop! Guilili was so frightened that she collapsed directly to the ground after screaming, her whole body shaking violently, her eyes full of despair. How did the other party find this place? She couldn't imagine it. The 8th level Taoist who brought her here could not possibly expose the whereabouts of this place. After all, the other party also knew that his enemy was a powerful Taoist. Once he was found, he would definitely die. Lei Hong was closing his eyes to rest, and he didn't notice any abnormality with his spiritual consciousness that was always outside. After all, the spiritual consciousness of a strong Taoist can isolate the spiritual consciousness of entering the Tao. Under the cover of Duan Lingshan's spiritual consciousness, I and my son Duan Niantian were together. It was as if Lei Hong was invisible in front of his spiritual consciousness. But now, Guilili's exclamation made him wake up instantly like a dream, and he quickly opened his eyes. At just one glance, I saw two familiar faces. Duan Niantian, a little trash who has not yet entered Taoism, is no different from an ant in his eyes. The other person was the one who almost killed him in the past. Moreover, the other party is now in harmony. Duan Lingtian. How did he find this place? Lei Hong's expression suddenly changed, and at the same time he did not dare to hesitate. He immediately set out to break through the hall, and prepared to escape. However, as soon as he hit the palace wall, he found that he could not move forward. A wall seemed to have been erected on the way forward, stopping him there, which also made him change his face again. What is it? This is space laws? No, it's the way of space. When Lei Hong was panicking and even despairing, Duan Lingshan's calm voice came slowly over. Lei Hong, it's rare for an old friend to see you again, and you ran away without even saying hello. Isn't it a bit rude? Chapter 47:15. Lei Hong's face was pale and he was sweating profusely, but his eyes when he looked at Duan Lingtian were filled with unwillingness. Duan Lingtian, how did you find this place? This place is so hidden that it is logically impossible for Duan Lingtian to find it. Although Guilili was brought here by him, this woman was always under the surveillance of his spiritual consciousness. She could not make any small moves at all. It was impossible to tip off Duan Lingtian, and the other party did not have the position to tip off the tip because she is the person Duan Lingtian must kill. Are you looking for Duan Lingtian to come here to kill you? I know I'm no match for you, but I hope that even if I die, you will let me die clearly. Lei Hong, who is well aware of the gap between himself and Duan Lingtian, knows that he will definitely die today, but if he cannot solve this doubt before he dies, he will really die in peace. To show my sincerity, I will help you kill this femme fatale who harmed your son." As soon as he finished speaking, Lei Hong struck out like lightning and killed Guo Lili from the air. Guo Lili fell to the ground with her eyes wide open. She could not figure out until her death why the person who saved her would help Duan Niantian kill her here. Then, Lei Hong stared at Duan Lingtian with red eyes and growled, "Lei Hong, please." Facing Lei Hong's hysteria, Duan Lingtian glanced at him lightly and said in a calm tone, "Lei Hong, according to my previous temperament, I will definitely not be able to answer your questions before you die. Now I can explain something to you. If before he became the master of the creation life chart, faced with the current situation, he would have really not bothered to nag Lei Hong and killed Lei Hong directly. As for Lei Hong dying with a peaceful eye, what would it have to do with him? Dry? But now, after becoming the person who created the birth chart, his pattern suddenly opened up. In other words, his mentality has completely changed. In his eyes, Lei Hong is no longer the enemy or rival of the past, but just a little creature born in the world he controls. Yu Luoha has been killed by me. The creation chart has recognized me as the master. After combining the three paths, I can master the creation life chart better than Luo He. I can lock your position by collecting the traces and auras you left in the world of the creation life chart. When Duan Lingtian said this, Lei Hong's expression suddenly changed, and he looked at Duan Lingtian again, as if he had seen a ghost. Combine three paths? Although he felt that it was a bit outrageous and even a fantasy, he also knew that at this time, there was no need for Duan Lingtian to deceive himself. At this moment, he was filled with regret. If I had known that Duan Lingtian was so rebellious, when I had an enmity with Duan Lingtian, wouldn't I just have bowed my head to him and be done with it? Why should you look down on the other person just because you think the other person is a junior? Regret? Is there anything else you want to ask? Duan Lingtian said calmly. If not, I will send you on your way. It's gone. Lei Hong smiled miserably, but at the same time his strength vibrated, bursting out with the final glory. Although he knew that he was not Duan Lingshan's opponent, but with his character, he was not someone who just waited to be killed. Even if he knew that he was defeated, he knew that he would fight back. Resistance means death, but he doesn't want to wait for death. However, the strength of Lei Hong, who entered the 8th level of the Tao, in front of Duan Lingtian, who had combined the 3 levels, was like the difference between the light of a grain of rice and the brightness of the bright moon. He was wiped out by Duan Lingtian, and then Lei Hong's entire body was also suppressed by Duan Lingtian. The terrifying power was crushed, the spirit and soul were destroyed, and the body no longer existed. Duan Lingshan's enemy, who had been his enemy for many years, died at the hands of Duan Lingtian. If we say that when the two of them first became enemies, Lei Hong still had some strength to resist, but now Lei Hong doesn't even have the slightest strength to resist. Father, since Guo Lili and Lei Hong are both dead, please send me back. I also want to cultivate the way of space. I will first go back to the creation life chart world to lay the foundation, and then come to the world of gods and earth to transform it into the way of space. Duan Niantian said to his father that the strength his father showed shocked him. The once arrogant man who stood at the top of the world, and the one who killed him casually, had no way to fight back in front of his father. His strength was like fish on a chopping board for his father to slaughter. Although he knew that he would never have the hope of catching up with his father in this life, as Duan Lingshan's son, he really didn't want to be called a tiger father and dog son. He also wants to become stronger. Duan Lingtian nodded, and then sent his son back to the creation world. Some time ago, after he thoroughly grasped and became familiar with the creation chart, and captured the auras of Lei Hong and Yun Qingyan, he asked his family and friends for their opinions, and then sent them back when they readily agreed. Create the birth chart world. After returning, everyone was very happy. Although the world of Divine Land is not bad, it is not their hometown. They still prefer to stay in the world or outside the world. Now, as the creation chart has been repaired, the land outside the world and the world have returned to their original appearance. However, many of the destroyed buildings have not been restored and are still in ruins. But these are not a problem for them. Just rebuild. After solving Yin Qingyan, go back to Jianglan Divine Kingdom. If the people of Duan Mansion and Qingyan Mansion want to go back to the 10,000 realms and the land beyond the boundary, I will send them back together. As soon as his heart moved, Duan Lingtian disappeared from the place in a flash. When Yin Qingyan, who was now renamed Yin Xinfeng, saw Duan Lingtian, he thought he was dazzled. Then his face changed drastically and he wanted to escape, but was stopped without any accident. Yin Qingyan didn't even step into the 4th level. And even Lei Hong, who was on the 8th level, was stopped by Duan Lingtian at will, let alone him. Yin Qingyan, long time no see. Duan Lingtian looked at Yin Qingyan in front of him. Although the other person's appearance had changed due to the soul fusion with the souls of the Soul Clan in the past, he could still vaguely see the shadow of the past. Especially that a pair of eyes is basically there is no difference. At this moment, Duan Lingshan's thoughts seemed to go back to the time when he was still in the secular plane, and the scene where Yin Qingyan came forcefully and trampled him under his feet. That day, Yin Qingyan was an invincible existence in his eyes, and he could crush him with one finger. And now it's the other way around. He can crush the opponent with one finger. Duan Lingtian, how did you find this place? Yin Qingyan was a little doubtful about life. He specifically found a remote and uninhabited place where he was, and confirmed that no one was following him when he came here, and no one knew his identity, or had any motive to follow him. But how did Duan Lingtian find him? I know you're curious. Duan Lingtian smiled lightly. However, I have no obligation to answer it for you. Just go to with this doubt. Then, when Yin Qingyan's pupils shrank sharply and his face showed a look of horror, Duan Lingtian slapped him to death. He didn't even bother to talk nonsense to Yin Qingyan. In his eyes, Yin Qingyan's hatred for him was much deeper than the hatred for Lei Hong. Everything has been solved. After visiting the Jianglan Divine Kingdom and sending everyone back to the creation chart, it's time to visit the Wanshanchen clan. On the way to Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Duan Lingtian had a thought and whispered. A few days ago, his master Feng Qingyang was asking him when he would go to Wanshanchen family for a stroll. He seemed to be more anxious than him. Now it's time. Chapter 47:16. The Chun family in Wanshan occupies a vast area with beautiful mountains and clear waters and pleasant scenery. This place is also one of the top forces in the world of gods and earth, just because there is not only a super strong man who combines 3 ways, but also a strong man who combines 2 ways. A Shuanghe Dao is the confidence of Wanshanchen's position as the dominant force in the world of gods and earth. In the past, even when the Wanshanchen family had only one Hadao strongman, no one dared to come to provoke him, let alone now that the Wanshanchen family has 2 Hadao strongmen, one of whom is a Hadao master. Existence. Now, if someone tells the people of the Wanshanchen sect that someone is going to them to cause trouble, they will only smile disdainfully and say bluntly, if anyone dares to come to our Wanshanchen sect to cause trouble, there will be no return. Really think we are 10,000 are the 2 Hadao ancestors of the Shanshan family made of clay? But today the Wanshanchen family really welcomed 2 uninvited guests. Wow. A terrifying divine consciousness swept down and enveloped the entire Wanshanchen clan. The divine consciousness contained powerful power, as if it had no reservations. It instantly overwhelmed everyone in the Wanshanchen clan, and felt it was difficult to breathe. The lower ones were even pressed to the ground, trembling. This is a strong Hadao person? Many monks from the Wanshan clan shrank their pupils, with expressions of astonishment on their faces. They couldn't figure out which strong Hadao man dared to come to their Wanshanchen clan. Come to fight wildfire. This is not to put the 2 Hadao of their Wanshanchen family on in your eyes? You know one of their Wanshanchen clan's Hadao exists in Hadao. Where does this powerful Hadao man dare to mess with our Wanshanchen clan? How strong we are now, but how embarrassed we are when we run away. We, the Wanshanchen sect, are a double Hadao master. Looking at the entire world of gods and earth, we are not afraid of anyone, including the strong Hadao masters. Even though they knew that a strong Hadao man was coming, everyone in the Wanshanchen family did not panic at all. just because there were two Hadao ancestors behind them. Now many people are already expecting the two ancestors to take action, kill those who retreat. Let those who come, scenes of people fleeing in embarrassment. Time kendo? An indifferent voice seemed to come from the abyss, with a bit of anger and coldness, sweeping across the entire Wanshanshan family. Soon, a figure, as if teleporting, roared from the depths of the Chun family in Wanshan. In an instant, it was not far away from the two young men in the void. It stared at the young man in green among the two. His face is gloomy as water, but he is an old man who looks like a child with gray hair. It is Chun Jiuxiao, the powerful master of the three combined paths of the Wanshanshan family. It seems that you are the mysterious new Hadao from the world of gods and earth thousands of years ago. Chun Jiuxiao stared at Feng Qingyang, his eyes flashing. The sword of time is indeed powerful. But if you think of our Wanshanshan family running wild based on this, I'm afraid it's not qualified. Before Feng Qingyang could speak, another figure appeared. Feng Su Yufeng arrived, but it was Chun Mingho who came closely behind Chun Jiuxiao, another strong Taoist of the Wanshanshan family, who combined the same Tao that Duan Lingtian had previously combined. Sword Dao. After he appeared, he stared at Feng Qingyang with the same cold eyes. The consciousness just now was that of Feng Qingyang, who used Chun Mingho's anger against his disciple Duan Lingtian to forcefully suppress the people of the Chun family in Wanshan. A newly promoted Hadao dares to go wild in our Wanshanshan clan. Do you really think that our Wanshanshan clan has no one? Chun Mingho sneered with a bit of cruelty at the corner of his mouth. If you have the ability, don't run away later, fight me until death. Until death. Feng Qingyang smiled and glanced at Chun Mingho with disdain. Chun Mingho, right? You, who are walking on such a bad path as the infinite sword way, have the confidence to say this? Without Chun Jiuxiao, would you dare to say this? Chun Mingho, who was despised, was struck by Feng Qingyang's thoughts, and his face suddenly darkened, with killing intent in his eyes. Master, since he wants to fight to the death, let's help him. On the side, the young man in purple who had not spoken until now spoke in a calm tone, and at the same time as he spoke, he who was originally reserved suddenly seemed to become a beast that traveled across time and space from ancient times. The beast exudes a terrifying aura. Wow. The consciousness of the combined three paths spread out and swept across all directions. Even the consciousness of Chun Jiuxiao, who had just appeared and crushed Feng Qingyang's consciousness, was shaken to the point of collapse in front of his consciousness, as if it could be shaken at any time. May collapse. Three powerful ones. Chun Jiuxiao's expression changed instantly. He was both a strong person in the three ways. At this moment, it was not difficult to confirm the Tao that the other party had mastered, and even a new Tao that had never appeared in the history of the world of gods and earth, the way of infinity, the way of swords and the way of space, three ways in one. Are you Duan Lingtian? Chun Jiuxiao immediately guessed the identity of the young man in purple in front of him. He must be Duan Lingtian, who had been exiled from the creation world to the divine earth world. Duan Lingtian in the past, he joined forces with the infinite sword Dao. There was a Tao conflict with his grandson Chun Jiuxiao, so much so that they even went to the Jianglan divine kingdom to cause trouble for each other. That time, it was considered that the relationship was established with the other party. Today, a three-way strongman who mastered the infinite space sword technique came to the Chun family in Wanshan, looking like he was looking for trouble. Even if he didn't want to believe it in his heart, he didn't dare to believe it, but he had to believe it. That is Duan Lingtian. Otherwise, such a super strong man would come to Wanshanshan family to look for trouble, when he has nothing to do? Duan Lingtian. At this moment, Chun Mingho's expression changed drastically. How is it possible? You have only been able to combine the two realms for more than 1,000 years. How could you combine the third realm so quickly? He also realized that the person in front of him was him. In the past, he hated the person he hated deeply and wished he could crush him to ashes. But he was hiding and he couldn't do anything to him. But he didn't expect that the other person would come to him and cooperate with him. He passed the third path and became one of the rare three-way powerhouses in the world of gods and earth. Moreover, The opponent's infinite space swordsmanship seems to have never appeared in the past history of the world of eyes and earth. A brand new 3 ways in 1. In front of the opponent's consciousness, his consciousness was ruthlessly crushed. Even the consciousness of his grandfather Chen Jiuxiao, who was also a strong man in the 3 realms, was like a withered lamp and a dying fire in front of the other party's domineering consciousness. Tottering, it can be seen that the strength and dominance of Feng Shuo's way. Duan Lingtian, what happened in the past was my fault. If you are angry, I can apologize to you. Although he was reluctant in his heart, at this moment, Chen Mingho, under the urgent voice reminder from his grandfather Chen Jiuxiao, lowered his proud head, suppressed his voice and spoke in a very low posture. Chen Jiuxiao had to be the first to give in. The other party is also a double master. The second master on the other side masters the time sword. His grandson's infinite sword is no match. As for Duan Lingtian, he is taking a brand new path of 3 paths in 1, which is definitely beyond his ability to deal with. At the same time, he was also secretly cursing in his heart that when Ling Tian's 3 paths merged into 1, he must have chosen an extremely remote place. Otherwise, even if he did not see the vision of the 3 paths merging with his own eyes, someone would definitely see it, and even spread throughout the world of gods and earth. The vision of 3 realms merging into 1 covers a similar range to that of 2 realms merging into 1, but it can be seen from it that it is 3 realms merging into 1. Haha. However, Chen Mingho's resignation was replaced by Duan Lingshan's chuckle. If apologizing is useful, why did I still work so hard with the 3rd way? Chapter 47:17. When the words fell, the expressions of Chen Mingho and Chen Jiuxiao changed drastically. Duan Lingtian also took action like thunder. The terrifying aura swept across all directions, and the fierce sword light with the aura of space filled the sky, seemingly endless, roaring across the sky. It seems to have turned into a cage of heaven and earth. The entire world is imprisoned inside. In an instant, the raging space storm spread, and a large area of buildings belonging to the Chen family in Wanshan was directly razed to the ground, and even the nearby mountains and rivers were flattened. Above the sky, the combined power of the infinite space swordsmanship rolls down like an invincible galaxy, falling from the sky. The accompanying terrifying aura is almost suffocating. This is the unification of the 3 new ways. Boom! There was an explosion, followed by a series of loud noises, and wailing could be heard everywhere in the Wanshan Chen clan's residence. The monks above the level of Taoism successfully escaped for their lives, while those below the level of Taoism and the stronger ones also escaped in embarrassment, and many others were forever they were left where they were, and the family ruins became their burial ground. Duan Lingtian, you are too arrogant. Chen Jiuxiao was furious, and the power of the 3 paths also swept over him. However, the power of Hedao, which was so powerful in the past, was obviously lacking in background when compared with Duan Lingshan's power of Hedao. Wow! Feng Qingyang and Chen Mingho also took action almost at the same time. Chen Mingho had a sinister look on his face. He looked fierce, but in fact, there was heartfelt fear deep in his eyes. Facing a strong Hedao master who has mastered the Sword of Time, he has no confidence in winning, but he still has a certain degree of confidence if he wants to escape. After all, no one can compete with him now. However, now that he thinks about this, he is not happy at all. It can even be said that he now wishes that Duan Lingtian could still compete with him. If that is the case, it also means that Duan Lingtian has not made any further breakthroughs, and has not merged into the 3rd path based on the infinite sword path. Damn it! How could this Duan Lingtian be so defiant? In just over 1,000 years, he first merged with the 2 realms to join the ranks of the powerful ones in the world of gods and earth, and then merged with the 3rd realm, and mastered the power of the 3 realms. When together 3 ways and a brand new way. Is it that simple? Is it possible that he has some tricks? Thinking of this, Chen Mingho felt jealous and angry. Why are all the good things taken away by the other party? God is unfair. Soon Duan Lingtian and Chen Jiuxiao collided together. The 2 people's strength clashed, causing everything in a large area around them to turn into powder. Dust was flying all over the sky. The only visible creatures were Feng Qingyang and Chen Mingho, two people. The aftermath of their fight was not enough to affect Feng Qingyang and Chen Mingho. And now Feng Qingyang has also become involved with Chen Mingho. After a brief exchange, Duan Lingtian gained the upper hand. On the other hand, Chen Jiuxiao looked gloomy and ugly, and even his hands were trembling slightly. It could be seen that the blow just now put him under a lot of pressure. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian is still as handsome as before, without any damage. The gap is so huge that it can be seen at a glance. The new path that combines three paths into one is so terrifying. At this moment, Chen Jiuxiao had already begun to think about quitting, and he felt that as long as he wanted to leave, Duan Lingtian would not be too lazy to let him go. Mingho, let's retreat. It will do us no good to continue fighting for a long time. Chen Jiuxiao sent a message to Chen Mingho and said to him. Now Chen Mingho was being beaten by Feng Qingyang. At that time, the kendo, as a quasi-new way, completely overwhelmed his infinite kendo, making him feel helpless and powerless. He realized the gap between himself and the opponent, and only can barely resist the opponent's hand. However, it is not that easy for the other party to kill him. Escaping unscathed, he asked himself whether he could still do it. Chen Jiuxiao was confident that he would be able to escape from Duan Lingshan's hands. Chen Mingho was also confident that he could retreat under Feng Qingyang's hands. However, what if Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang team up to target one person, and it is the weaker Chen Mingho? Boom! An earth-shaking loud noise, like thunder on the ground, suddenly sounded. But when Duan Lingtian faced Chen Jiuxiao, he suddenly exploded, but the target was not Chen Jiuxiao, but Chen Mingho. Wow! The sword light that filled the sky seemed to spread infinitely from the void, tearing the sky apart, converging into a sword, and killing Chen Mingho. Under this sword, the void shook, and tiny space cracks appeared one after another, which was shocking. On the other side, Feng Qingyang also took action at the same time. The characteristics of the time sword changed and enveloped Chen Mingho, freezing his figure. Not to mention that Chen Mingho now has no fighting spirit, and is waiting for an opportunity to escape. Even if his fighting spirit is boiling, it is difficult to survive under the hasty siege of Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang. After all, his infinite sword technique is really too old and broken. Mingho. Chen Jiuxiao never expected that Duan Lingtian, who was fighting with him, would suddenly turn around and attack Chen Mingho. Moreover, this was when he reminded Chen Mingho to prepare to escape. Chen Jiuxiao became furious and rushed to the rescue, but in the end it was still a little late. I saw that under Feng Qingyang's stagnant control of time, not only did Chen Mingho's body speed slow down a lot, but even the speed of his shots also slowed down. Feng Qingyang was concentrating on controlling the field, and not launching an offensive. To maximize the control of time. Feng Qingyang is in charge of control, while Duan Lingtian is in full power output. The power of the three paths, and it is also a brand new way. Looking at the contemporary world of Earth and Earth, he considers himself second in terms of attack, and absolutely no one dares to claim first. Boom! The loud noise shook the earth and the earth. Even if Chen Mingho was ready to resist, he was still vulnerable to Duan Lingshan's offensive that seemed to be able to destroy the world. In the blink of an eye, he was blasted with half of his body left. After all, even if his strength was compared to Luo Luo's, he was still vulnerable. There are many in Hedu, so naturally they cannot stop Duan Lingshan's terrifying offensive. With just one blow, Chen Mingho was killed by Duan Lingtian. Of course, it was also because Feng Qingyang cooperated well, otherwise Chen Mingho would have been injured at most, or even seriously. A strong Hadao person, even if he is following a dilapidated path, his strength cannot be underestimated. Boom, boom, boom. Red clouds and dark clouds were raging in the sky, and blood rain poured down, covering the Chen family that had been razed to the ground. It even continued to spread in all directions, and once reached the sky covering the entire Divine Land world. For a time, the whole world of Divine Land was in panic. Is this another strong person from Hadao dying? Oh my god! How many days has passed? The owner of the creation chart, Luoha, who practiced the taboo of life sacrifice, died just a few days ago, and Hadao died again? This is Infinite Sword Dao? Was it the newly promoted He Dao Duan Lingtian, who died 1,000 years ago? Was he killed by 2 members of the Wanshanchen family? Chapter 47:18. In the contemporary world of the gods and earth, there are 2 people walking on the path of infinite sword. One is Chen Mingho, an aboriginal member of the Wanshanchen family's sacred land world, and the other is Duan Lingtian, an alien creature from the creation world. Duan Lingtian was promoted to Hadao later, because he also followed the infinite sword way, which overlapped with the Hadao path taken by Chen Mingho, which was tantamount to being an enemy of Chen Mingho head-on. If Chen Mingho was just a loner, that would be fine. With him walking the infinite sword path, Chen Mingho would be unable to do anything to Duan Lingtian. But the problem is, Chen Mingho is not alone. There is even a more powerful Hadao expert behind him. He is one of the few people standing at the top of the world of gods and earth. A super strong man who has combined the 3 ways. In this situation, many people felt that Duan Lingtian was going to be unlucky. In fact, many people have heard that Chen Mingho and Chen Jiuxiao went to Jianglan Divine Kingdom to find Duan Lingtian, and they feel that they will not let Duan Lingtian go easily. But now, a strong man with unlimited swordsmanship has died. The first thing everyone thinks of is Duan Lingtian, and no one thinks it is Chen Mingho, just because there is Chen Jiuxiao standing behind Chen Mingho. Escape dash. As soon as Chen Mingho died, no matter how angry Chen Jiuxiao was, he knew that he could not change anything, so he immediately chose to run away, for fear that if he continued to stay, he would end up here. As a strong man of the 3 paths, even if he is following a dilapidated path, he still cannot be underestimated. At least, the stagnant nature of Feng Qingyang's time sword way has almost no effect on the opponent. That is the level difference of the Hadao road. The 3 paths have natural pressure on the second path, so that Feng Qingyang has difficulty limiting his speed. In this case, even if Duan Lingtian was stronger than the opponent, he still could not intercept the opponent. It's a pity that he ran away. Feng Qingyang sighed, a little regretful. Duan Lingtian had already expected it, and smiled calmly and said, "After all, he is a strong man of the 3 realms, so it is normal that he cannot be kept. If you want to kill him, I'm afraid I need Master to combine the 3 ways, or I need to combine the 4 ways." Hearing this, Feng Qingyang said angrily, "Then I must join the 3rd path first." That's not necessarily the case. Duan Lingtian smiled even brighter. "Master, some time ago, my method of control has made some progress after I controlled the creation life chart and understood the rules. I have already stepped into it. 9th floor, next I plan to try to see if you can combine the 4 paths with the help of the creation life chart. 4 ways together. Once you take this step, you will be truly invincible. Even in the world of gods and earth, if all Hadao united to surround and kill Duan Lingtian, they would not be Duan Lingshan's opponent. Of course, even if Duan Lingtian is now, he may not be a match against all the Hadao attacks in the world of gods and earth, but it is not difficult to retreat unscathed. He may even be able to escape with a few powerful Erdeo soldiers at the same time, by to meet their old friend who was on the road to first." Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, Feng Qingyang was speechless for a while, then sighed for a moment and said feebly, "Send me back to the Nirvana heaven." "Master, in fact, you can keep the law clone inside, and I will continue to stay in the divine earth world. Don't you want to challenge the powerful Hadao realm in the divine earth world?" Duan Lingtian asked with a smile. Returning to the creation life chart world, the law reappears, and the clone of the law can naturally be condensed again. Let's wait for a while. I'm a little tired now. You're such a tough guy. Feng Qingyang waved her hand and shook her head. When Duan Lingtian heard this, he didn't say anything more and sent his master Feng Qingyang back to the world of creation and destiny. As for him, he rarely goes back in his true form, because there are many clones of him in the creation life chart world, and he can accompany his family at any time. He'll go find some other 3-way experts to spar with each other. After killing Chen Mingho, Duan Lingtian felt empty, as if he suddenly had no goals. After all, even Lei Hong and Yun Qingyan, his 2 old enemies, were dead. Looking around, I haven't thought about it for the time being. Target to target. As for Chen Jiuxiao, wait until the four paths merge into one before going to play with him. Of course, Duan Lingtian also knows that although the other three Hadao experts in the world of gods and earth are stronger than Chen Jiuxiao, their strength is limited, and they must not be his opponents. He just wanted to see their methods. When Duan Lingtian went to the forces of several other three-way powerhouses and challenged and defeated them, it naturally caused a great sensation. As the news of his 3-in-1 unity spread, the entire world of gods and earth was shaken, and in an uproar. It turns out that the strong man who practiced the infinite swordsmanship who died last time was not Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingshan's three paths merged into one? The one who died must be Qin Mingho. Didn't he advance to Hadao 1,000 years ago? In such a short period of time, the three paths merged into one? You think? Could it be that he also killed Yu Luaha, the owner of the creation life plank? If he did it, the creation life plank must be in his hands now, right? Many people guessed that the fate of creation was in Duan Lingshan's hands, and some were even moved by it, and even thought of uniting with many Hadao people to target Duan Lingtian. However, after all, there was no guarantee that Duan Lingtian would be retained, so in the end he had no choice but to let it go. Another 3,000 years passed, when they saw the vision of the fall of Hadao appearing on the horizon again. And this time it was a strong man of the three paths who died, that is Chen Jiuxiao, who survived the Wanshanchen family in the past. I couldn't help but feel lucky that I didn't provoke Duan Lingtian to be able to kill Chen Jiuxiao. This Lingtian, isn't it possible that he has combined the four paths? Only when the four paths merge into one can he possibly kill Chen Jiuxiao. At this time, Duan Lingtian didn't even need to show up to show his strength. A group of strong men in the world of gods and earth had already guessed that Duan Lingshan's four ways had merged into one, and he had become the only powerful man of four ways in the world of gods and earth in the contemporary era. Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Jiang Tianzheng and the Eternal Night Divine Monk from the Kuhai Temple. The two of them gathered together and looked at each other with extremely complicated expressions. I really didn't expect he would actually take that step. It's really incredible. Jiang Tianzheng, a strong Taoist from the Jianglan Divine Kingdom, let out a long sigh. He never expected that Duan Lingtian could combine the four Taos into one. In the past, when he heard that Duan Lingshan's three realms merged into one, he was shocked enough. Now he felt that he had lived like a dog for so many years, and was not even as good as a hair on Duan Lingshan's legs. Yes, in just a few thousand years he has gone from a little guy who has not yet entered the Hadao to an invincible existence in the world of gods and earth. The Yongye Divine Monk couldn't help but sigh. Since the four paths merged into one, Duan Lingtian has also become more leisurely, spending most of his time accompanying his wife, adding several younger brothers and sisters to Duan Niantian and Duan Siling. It is worth mentioning that his master Feng Qingyang's two wives also became pregnant one after another and gave birth to a son and a daughter. For a while, the two of them were enjoying themselves among their children, and they were so happy that they no longer thought about God and earth. Season finale. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.